Good morning, hello, and welcome to This Date in History, aka TDH. This show is about what happened today throughout the annals of history. Join us as we delve into yesteryear, not only for interesting and important happenings, but to possibly even answer questions you didn't even know you have. The sources of this information come from the smart device application Today in History, What Happened Today in History, historical calendar, and the website onthisday.com. For links to those sources, the music in the background, anything else potentially interesting, why can't I talk today? Check the underbar of the description below. Anyway, I am Xander, and you are you. Today is Thursday, aka Friday, August 4th, 2023. Let's get into the history today, shall we? Starting us off in 1181, supernova SN 1181 in the constellation Cassiopeia, observed by Chinese and Japanese astronomers, lasting until August 6th. Wow, so a couple of days. Then we got a victory in battle here in 1347. English troops under Edward II conquered Calais, becoming a strategic town for the English during the 100 Years' War. And yeah, Calais is, right there at the Pas de Calais, the closest between Britain and France. You know, the narrowest part of the English Channel, essentially, right there. Moving on up to 1347. Actually, no, we already got that one. 1558, my bad. What do we got here? The first printing of the Zohar in Spain popularizes Jewish study of Kabbalah. Huh. Alright. So the Zohar obviously is some kind of religious text of some sort. You know what? Let me look it up. What is Zohar? It's just, let's see here. The Zohar is a foundational work in the literature of Jewish mystical thought known as Kabbalah. It is a group of books including commentary on the mystical aspects of the Torah and scriptural interpretations, as well as material on mysticism, mythical cosmogony, that's a weird word, and mystical physiology. I'm going to add the link to the Wikipedia to the underbar of the description below after the live stream, of course. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Let's move on up. What else do we got here? 1701. The Peace of Montreal. Before that. 1693. I'm all sorts of all over the place here. Date traditionally ascribed to Dom Perignon Invention of Champagne. Alright, so anyone out there who likes that sparkling wine. This is the anniversary of the, actually, that's a 93, so we are in, so how many years? Let's see here, 2023 minus 1693 equals 330 years. That's a nice little round number. Well, in 3 years, it'll be 333. I wonder if they're going to do anything special for that. Now moving on up into 1701, we have the Peace of Montreal. 30 Arménian tribes signed a accord guaranteeing their neutrality in the event of conflict between France and England. Alright, that's in the New World right there. 1735, jury acquitted John Zinger of New York Weekly Journal, charged with seditious libel by Royal Governor of New York. Victory for freedom of press, yes. You know, like, what is libel? We've looked that up before, but let's do so again. So, libel is a method of defamation expressed by print, writing, pictures, signs, effigies, or any communication embodied in physical form that is injurious to a person's reputation, exposes a person to public hatred, contempt, or ridicule, or injures a person in his or her business or profession. So one of these things does not belong in there. Exposes a person to public hatred. Well, I guess that could be interpreted as misinformation as well, but this could be, libel can also be used to, like, squash the First Amendment, like, which they try to do that with this. So that's why it's a victory of freedom of the press. Let's move on up here. 1753, George Washington became a master mason. Yikes. And we also have 1772, English poet and artist William Blake, at the age of 14, was first apprenticed to engraver James Bashier in London. All right. 1777, retired British cavalry officer Philip Astley established his riding school with performances in London. This is a precursor of the circus. Alright, that's pretty cool. 1789, French Revolution. The National Constituent Assembly met and issued the first decrees that abolished centuries of feudalism in France. Yep, that needs to go. Although, I feel like serfdom is still alive and well in today's world with how things are going. Anyway, 1790, United States Revenue Cutter Service was established to serve as an armed customs enforcement service, later becoming the U.S. Coast Guard in 1915. All right. So the predecessor to the Coast Guard. 1821, the first edition of American magazine, the Saturday Evening Post. Cool. And while that was happening, 1821 as well, Russian Antarctic expedition led by Fabian Gottlieb von Bellingshausen returned to Kronstadt after becoming the first to circumnavigate Antarctica. All right. 1830, plans for city of Chicago laid out. Cool, cool. 1845, immigrant ship Cataraqui wrecked in Bass Strait with a loss of 400 lives. Only 9 survive. And this is this is Australia's deadliest maritime civil disaster. All right here. We also have in 1854, so we went from 45 to 54, the Hinomaru was established as the official flag to be flown on Japanese ships. All right, well, let's take a look at that one. Is that the Hinomaru images, flag of Japan? There's 2 different styles. There's this one with the rays, and then there's just a solid Japanese, dot. But I guess they're both the same thing. Well, it's the Hinomaru and the Japanese flag. So this is the Hinomaru. So I think this is what they flew on the ships there. And this is the actual flag of the nation of Japan. I believe. Don't quote me on that. If I'm wrong, please let me know in the comment section. We got to move on up here. 1862, the U.S. government collects its first income tax. Yeah, and it never stopped. 1873, during the Indian Wars, while protecting a railroad survey party in Montana, U.S. 7th Cavalry under Lieutenant Colonel George Armstrong Custer clashed for the first time with the Sioux near the Tongue River. 1 man killed on each side. Yep, that is some foreshadowing right there. 1879, Pope Leo the 13th published encyclical Aeterni Patris. So let's take a look at that. What does that entail here? All right, let's see. Aeterni Patris was an encyclical published. It was subtitled On the Restoration of Christian Philosophy in Catholic Schools in the Spirit of the Angelic Doctor St. Thomas Aquinas. The aim of the encyclical was to advance the revival of scholastic philosophy. All right. For further reading on that, please refer to the underbar of the description below. These links will be in there post-live stream, of course, as I've said before. But if anybody's not paying attention to what I'm saying, then, there you go. Anyway, 1892, Sunday school teacher Lizzie Borden's father and stepmother, where'd it go? Hold on a second. Okay, yeah, here we go. Father and stepmother are murdered with an axe in Fall River, Massachusetts. Borden was later arrested, tried, and acquitted. But, yeah, I think she might have done it. And, what's that rhyme? That, something, hold on a second. Lizzie Borden rhyme. Let's see here. It's kind of gruesome. Lizzie Borden took an axe and gave her mother 40 whacks. When she saw what she had done, she gave her father 41. Absolutely yikes. What else do we have? Moving on up into the 1900s, and 1900 by itself, an Allied expeditionary force made up of Japanese, Russian, British, French, and U.S. troops set off from Tianjin for Peking, China, to put down the Boxer Rebellion. Yep. That was a rebellion by people who used to put things in boxes, hence the word boxer. They were boxers. Unless it's like a whole bunch of people who fought like that, that'd be a little bit more of a terrifying rebellion to fight against. 1903, Cardinal Giuseppe Sarto of Venice was elected Pope Pius X. And we also have the same thing, because we have 2 of these. 1903, Giuseppe Sarto elected Pope Pius X, known as the Pope of the Poor and Humble. I don't know why they couldn't combine these 2 articles. I can, but whatever. Then 1914, U.S. declared neutrality on the outbreak of World War I. Yep, we tried to remain neutral, but then the whole Lusitania thing. So, while that was happening, during World War I, Germany declared war on Belgium. Britain then declared war on Germany. Yep, all the alliances and agreements and all that stuff. One thing leads to another, the domino effect, and that's what led to the outbreak of World War I. I've talked about this several times before on this show, but after this video, of course, please go check out History Bombs. And actually, I will post a link in the underbar here. History Bombs World War I. It's a good channel. They have a lot of great videos. But, you know, like this specifically pertains to what I'm talking about here. How could a bullet from a young Serbian's gun spark the, you know, outbreak of World War I, as it said at the beginning? But anyway, let's move on up here. We also have some more World War I here in 1914. King Albert I became supreme commander of Belgian army after German declaration of war. All right. 2 years later, 1916, Denmark and the United States signed a treaty whereby the Danish West Indies, including the Virgin Islands, are to be ceded to the U.S. in 1917 by for $25 million. Why can't I talk today? All right, so just forcibly taking land. Like, you will sell us your land. Money, take it. 1 year later, in 1917, Pravda called for the killing of all capitalists, priests, and officers. Yikes. And speaking of yikes, and this is like, I wouldn't say irony, I'd say like crazy. 1918, Adolf Hitler received the Iron Cross First Class for bravery on the recommendation of his Jewish superior, Lieutenant Hugo Gutmann. So, yeah, how he returned the favor was not very nice. Bad Hitler. 1919, Rodin Museum opened in Paris in the Hotel Byron, containing works left to the state by the sculptor Auguste Rodin. 1922, Lizzie Murphy became the first female to play against MLB players in a charity expedition, All-Stars from New England and American League versus Boston Red Sox at Fenway Park. All right. And that was 1922 right here. Yep. 1925, U.S. Marines left Nicaragua after a 13-year occupation. That's a while. 1930, child labor laws were established in Belgium. Huh. Okay. 4 years later, 1934, Giants outfielder Mel Ott became the first player in MLB history to score 6 runs in a game as New York defeated Phillies 21-4. Yikes. That's not fair. Let's see here. 2 years later, 1936, this guy, BAMF, badass mother trucker. U.S. athlete Jesse Owens won his second gold medal at the Berlin Olympics, defeated German Lutz Long in the long jump final with an Olympic record. Yep. As I said before, he showed Germany who the real superior race was. There is no such thing, though. Like, we are all equal. All jokes aside. Anyway, 1942, first train with Jews departed Mechelin, Belgium to Auschwitz. Yikes. 1940s now. Let's move on up here. 1942 as well, German occupier ordered all Dutch homing pigeons killed. That's not nice. Poor pigeons. 1943, British Premier Winston Churchill traveled on the Queen Mary to Canada. Hey! And the Queen Mary, I believe, is the one over in Long Beach out here in California. I've been on that ship a couple of times. So that's cool that ship was floating back then. 1944, Anne Frank arrested in Amsterdam by German security police, the Groene Politie, following a tip-off from an informer who was never identified. Whoever that is, you know. I hope you're enjoying yourself in hell, whoever that was. So, R.I.P. Anne Frank. 1946, an earthquake of magnitude 8.0 hit northern Dominican Republic. 100 were killed and 20,000 are left homeless. Yikes. Yeah, that's right here. Moving on up, 1947, the Supreme Court of Japan was established. All right. 1948, 5-day Southern States filibuster succeeded in maintaining U.S.'s poll tax. And once again, like, a poll tax is basically a tax taken from you to you're basically paying for your right to vote. That's what a poll tax is. Like, I think it's automatically taken out of, like, various other taxes. It's hidden under things. But it's there, right? As it says right here. While that was going on, 1948, the women's shot put introduced to track and field program at the London Olympics. Inaugural gold medalist Micheline Ostermeyer of France, who also won the women's discus gold. All right. 4 years later, 1952, gambling boss Theodore Rowe was murdered by the crew of Sam Giansana. Yikes. 1953, black families moved into the Trumbull Park housing project in Chicago. All right. 1954, Boscombe down first flight of supersonic P-1 Lightning. Ooh. Let's take a look at that. What did that aircraft look like? Ooh! That's a fast-looking jet right there. Coolio. 1954 as well, the government of Pakistan approved the national anthem written by Hafiz Julandri, and composed by Ahmed G. Shagla. Sorry for butchering your names. 1955, Eisenhower authorized $46 million for the construction of the CIA headquarters. Now in Langley Falls, Virginia, I believe. Good morning, USA. 1956, Elvis Presley released Hound Dog, a cover of Big Mama Thornton's original, written by Jerry Leiber and Mike Stoller. Yep. While that was going on, German Wilhelm Hertz became the first to ride a motorcycle at 200 miles per hour, specifically 210 miles per hour or 338 kilometers per hour, at the Bonneville Salt Flats in Utah. Oh yeah, that's where they test the fast cars and all that stuff. 1956 as well. Indonesia said it will not pay debts to the Netherlands. Okay, well, yeah, yeener. Moving on up, we also have Lee Petty dismounted car on lap 32, waved red flag to field because of dusting conditions at NASCAR Grand National at Tulsa, Oklahoma. Race was halted and never completed. Huh. Well, that sucks. What else do we have here? 1962, Nelson Mandela captured by South African police. Yep, apartheid. 64, bodies of civil rights workers Michelle Schwerner, Andrew Goodman, and James E. Cheney were discovered in an earthen Mississippi dam. In an earthen Mississippi. Wow, so they were put in the dam. They were buried in the dam. Damn. 1964, North Vietnam purportedly engaged U.S. Navy ships in the Gulf of Tonkin for a second time, resulting in U.S. Congress passing the Gulf of Tonkin Resolution, granting authority to assist any Southeast Asian facing quote-unquote communist aggression. Later investigation deemed the second attack never happened as shipboard communications were misinterpreted. So, yep. As I said yesterday, there's declassified documents saying that the first one never happened. The whole thing was all made up. So, 1965, Cook Islands entered into free association with New Zealand. All right. 2 years later, 1967, Pink Floyd released their first album, The Piper at the Gates of Dawn, their only record made under the leadership of Syd Barrett. Ah. All right. 1967 as well, shortwave group Anarch One's convention in Chicago. Shortwave group. What is that? What is a shortwave group? Let's look that up here. Okay, so shortwave radio. Okay. Alright. 1970, Jim Morrison was arrested for public drunkenness in Los Angeles. Yikes. 1971, U.S. launched first satellite into lunar orbit from manned spacecraft. Oh, so it has to be during Apollo something. It wasn't, because we've already landed now in 70. 1972, Arthur Bremer jailed for 63 years for shooting Alabama Governor Wallace. Yikes. That should be highlighted. That's a pretty long jail sentence, but yeah, he just shot a political official. You don't do that. Speaking of bad political officials, though, maybe, I don't know about if he was bad or not, but this guy definitely was. 1972 as well, Uganda dictator Idi Amin ordered the expulsion of 50,000 Asians with British passport from Uganda. Yikes. We're going to get to another bad dictatorship move here in a little bit. 1974, Crawford-Butter Act allowed Puerto Ricans to elect their own governor. Oh, what a concept. Let's see here. 1975, I didn't write this down, but Led Zeppelin singer Robert Plant was seriously hurt in a car crash in Rhodes, Greece. Yikes. 1976, though, England defeated Australia by 8 wickets in the limited overs cricket international at Lord's. First time women are permitted to play on the main square at the home of cricket. Crikey. I just had to cover that. 1977, U.S. President Carter established the Department of Energy. Alright. 1982, outfielder Yoel Youngblood became the only MLB player to get hits for 2 different teams in 2 different cities in the same day. Singles for Mets and Chicago day game traded, then singles for Expos in Philadelphia night game. Wow. Let's see here. Gonna move on up to 1984. Prince's Purple Rain album went on #1 and stayed #1 for 24 weeks. Nice. 1985, Dreamgirls closed at Imperial Theater, New York City after 1,522 performances. That's a lot. 1985 as well, Future Hall of Fame infielder Rod Carew of the California Angels singles off Minnesota's Frank Viola to collect his MLB 3000th career hit. Angels win 6-5. All right. 1 year later, 1986, after winning only token damages in antitrust lawsuit against the NFL, USFL owners voted to suspend operations for 1986 season, folded before the 4th season. Yep, right here. I've got a little bit of a difficult time keeping both things at the same level here. We have 1986 as well. Reports of probable OPEC, Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, agreement on outpost quotas sends oil prices higher. Not good. 1987, the FCC voted 4-0 to rescind fairness doctrine for broadcasters. Now, what is fairness doctrine? Let's see here. Let's look this up if we can find anything. The Fairness Doctrine of the United States Federal Communications Commission, introduced in 1949, was a policy that required the holders of broadcast licenses both to present controversial issues of public importance and to do so in a manner that fairly reflected differing viewpoints. Alright, so that makes kind of sense. For further reading on this subject matter, please refer to the underbar of the description below. Yada yada yada. Post-show. Let's see here. What else do we have? 1988, Congress voted $20,000 to each Japanese U.S. citizen interned in World War II. I agree with that. And what else do we have? 1988 as well. Hertz Car Rental will pay out $23 million in consumer fraud case. Yikes, what happened? If anybody wants to tell us in the comments section about that rabbit hole, please tell us. 1990, European community proposed a boycott of Iraq. Yep, that's because the whole predecessor to the first Iraq War, all the build up to it. 4 years later, 1994, Dwingaloo 1 near Milky Way system was discovered. Cool. While that was happening, a truck carrying millions of bees overturned in a New York parkway. That's horrifying. So, millions of bees. Yikes. 365 days later, 1995, following a suspension from the league for substance abuse, former Mets outfielder Darryl Strawberry joined New York Yankees and eventually helped the Bronx Bombers to win the 1996 World Series. All right. And we also have Operation Storm began in Croatia. The Croatian army attacked territory under the Republic of Serbian Krajina in the largest land battle since World War II. Wow. 1996, Jim Bunning, Earl Weaver, Bill Foster, and Ned Hanlon inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, New York. All right. 1997, 185,000 Teamsters Union parcel service drivers walked off of the job. Yikes. United Parcel Service. So that's UPS. Whoa. So, wow. UPS was having a problem in 1997. I think I remember something like... I was like 10 years old at the time. I remember something happening about UPS. So, I guess that's what happened. They had a whole strike. They just walked off the job. While that was going on in Colombia, International Oil Company, Occidental Petroleum, declared force majeure on all oil exports from the Camo Lemon field after a series of attacks knocked out a major oil pipeline. Yikes. So, like revolutionaries, I guess, Colombia, I'm not entirely sure. Moving on up into the next millennium, 2005, U.S. Hall of Fame jockey Pat Day, at the age of 52, announced his retirement from the saddle, $298 million in career purses. That is a good amount of money to have. While that was going on, Prime Minister Paul Martin announced that Michelle Jean will be Canada's 27th and first black Governor General. Alright, cool. 2007, 32-year-old Alex Rodriguez became the youngest player in MLB history to hit 500 home runs, connecting on the first pitch he sees as New York Yankees defeated Kansas City 16-8. So 2-1. All right. In 2009, Kim Jong-il met former President Bill Clinton. He pardons and released captured U.S. journalists Ina Lee and Laura Ling, who were found guilty of entering the country illegally. Yeah, don't do that. 2010, California's Proposition 8, the ballot initiative prohibiting same-sex marriage, was passed by the state's voters in 2008. It was overturned by Judge Vaughn Walker in the case Perry versus Schwarzenegger. So 2 years later. All right. 2011, Mark Duggan was shot by police in London at the age of 29, sparking widespread riots that cost an estimated £200 million worth of property damage. That is yikes. 2012, 45 people are killed by a suicide bombing in Abyei, Yemen. Yep, it's a lot. 2012 as well, South African Oscar Poyerus becomes the first double-leg amputee to compete at the Olympics. 400-meter London out in semis. Cool. And 2012, let's see here. 2014, Hamas and Israel agreed to another 72-hour ceasefire. Yeah, let's see how well that worked out. 2005, Muppets Miss Piggy and Kermit the Frog announced the end of the relationship on Twitter. And this is when we started entering into clown world. Who cares? While that was going on, Robert Downey Jr. was named the world's highest paid actor by Forbes magazine, earning $80 million. 4 non-Hollywood actors make it at the top 10. Dang. Hollywood really has its thumb on the pulse with that. Let's see here. 2017. Aldi supermarket withdrew all eggs from sale after chemical fipronil was found in eggs in the Netherlands. Yikes. And this is what I was talking about earlier, some more bad politicians. 2017 as well, Rwandan President Paul Kagame won a third term with 98.63% of the vote. Yeah, sure. And 2018, President Nicolas Maduro of Venezuela survived an assassination attempt by drone live on TV. Yikes. People are using drones now. I mean, the future is now. Like, it's crazy. 2019, China's central bank allowed its currency to weaken under usual 7-to-1 ratio to the US dollar for the first time in a decade in response to further US trade tariffs. Yep. And where is that on here? Somewhere on here. Let's see here. Yep, right there. 2019 as well, Frank Zapata was the first person to cross the English Channel by flyboard in 22 minutes. What is a flyboard? Let's see here. Flyboard. Oh, okay. Wow. Huh. That's cool. So he crossed the English Channel with one of those. Pardon me. That's really cool. What else do we have? 2019, gunman killed 9 and injured 27 at a bar in Dayton, Ohio, in the second mass shooting in 24 hours in the U.S. Yikes. 1 year later, 2020, huge explosions at the port of Beirut, Lebanon, killed more than 200 and left over 6,000 people injured. What? Hold on a second. Where is that? Yeah, that's weird. 6,000. Okay. 2021, we have the largest wildfire in California so far in 2021. So not, ever, just so far in that year. The Dixie Fire at 320,000 acres destroyed the gold rush town of Greenville. Yikes. Oh, man. Well, nature took a bit of history. We have some more in 2021. Mediterranean region evolving into a wildfire hotspot, according to authorities, amidst extreme temperatures, with Greece experiencing one of its worst heat waves in 40 years. And yeah, sorry, I've been talking for almost a half hour, no water at all. 2021, Rihanna was named the world's wealthiest female musician, worth $1.7 billion by Forbes. Dang. 2022, InfoWars conspiracy theorist Alex Jones ordered to pay $4.1 million in compensatory damages to parents of child killed in Sandy Hook massacre after Jones claimed it was a hoax. Well, it wasn't really a hoax, but it was, it's not that it didn't happen, but what caused it? False flag. Anyway, Let's see here. What else do we have? 2022, Russian court sentences WNBA star Brittany Griner to 9 years in prison for drug smuggling amid claims she is being used as a pawn between the U.S. and Russia. And yeah, you don't even want to hear what I want to say about that. And then 2022, last but not least, U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland announced charges against 4 police officers for violating the rights of Breonna Taylor during a 2020 raid that resulted in her death. Yikes. Yep. Alright, that shall conclude the show. Once again, please check the underbar of the description for any links you may find interesting, including but not limited to all things Omni Coalition. Go to our link tree. We are in a lot of places, and we have several affiliates with us and whatnot. Anyway, for your dose of Fast Feds Daily, we stream every day at 11 in the morning Pacific Time, which is 12 Mountain, 1 Central, and 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, respectively. For all of you and all of us, I am Xander, and you are you. Until you catch us, actually not doing a show tomorrow, so until you catch us on Sunday, or if you're interested in some notable events, weather, and sports, some news, the Omni Coalition News Show Talkness is coming up at 3 p.m. Pacific Time today. And we also do have the Kicked Peanut on Sunday at 3 p.m. We actually have quite a bit of interesting topics that we wish to talk about. So, yeah, until then, don't forget to look right and left at a reader section, rate 5 thumbs, and subscribe.